Hi guys, it's Jim Daly here, Crystal Palace fan, writer, YouTuber, basically anything that will pay. I am here to answer some questions ahead of Palace's trip to Newcastle this weekend, so let's get into it. Palace are on to their second manager of the season so far with Roy Hodgson, following in the footsteps of Frank de Boer, who managed to make a record as the shortest ever Premier League manager, just 4 games. Roy is difficult to dislike. He is a very nice, friendly, older gentleman who is from Croydon, knows the area, knows the club, and is a Palace fan, reportedly, as well. So in a way, it's kind of a perfect fit, but as we all know, in the Premier League, there isn't much time for romanticism. If you're not the right guy, you're not the right guy. And Frank probably should have got more time, but maybe wasn't the right guy. Roy, he's got his first win as Palace boss at the weekend, obviously, which has changed everything. Everyone's way more confident, a lot happier. And it looked at the weekend, and there'd been signs of it before, but obviously no goals and no points. It looked like finally the team is starting to get what Roy's about and starting to get his ethos. And they played very well. And he tinkered the system, didn't play a striker, played Andros and Wilf up front, and it worked. So right now I think everyone is getting behind Roy, as they would anyway. And it does feel like we may have just, not so much turned a corner, but been pointed in the right direction. Well, it doesn't take a genius to work out how bad our form has been, or had been, before that crazy win against Chelsea at the weekend. 7 games in the league, no points, no goals. I mean, it was record-breakingly bad. I think it broke a record going back to 1924 or something. And I think if we hadn't scored against Chelsea, we'd have then broken the record in English football for games without a goal, I believe, which was Halifax in 1930 something. So the form has been really bad, really, really bad. And that's carried on from last season as well. In fact, we beat Hull towards the end of last season to stay up, but around that time we lost most of the other games as well. So we're on a bad run, and we were on a bad run before this Chelsea game. We're hoping that this Chelsea result will kickstart our season. I mean, Roy sort of said that his season only started 4 games ago when he came in. I believe that our season sort of starts now, really. The 7 games without a win and without any points is gone. We've got points now, we're on the board. We're only a point off Bournemouth, who are a place above us, which if I was a Bournemouth fan, I'd be feeling pretty bad about that. There's still 30 games to go, there's a long way to go, a lot of points to get. So the season starts now. We'll forget those 7 games, mainly because I don't want to think about them again. Personally, I would keep the exact same lineup. Now, we have no striker, that's the big issue at the moment. Benteke is our only striker. Palace failed to get any backup for him in the summer transfer window. And of course, he got injured a few weeks ago against Man City with a knee ligament injury. He reportedly isn't even back in training for another 2 or 3 weeks, possibly longer. So he won't be back playing for a while. There's reports that Palace might sign a free transfer striker, but all of the options out there are pretty bad. So instead, Roy's had to tinker with it. He tried Bakary Sakho, the former Wolves winger, up front for a few games. He scored against Huddersfield in the Cup, but hasn't really done it. And then, of course, last weekend, he decided to go with no striker and go with Wilf and Andros as a sort of double false 9, which really worked. So I think he will probably, or certainly in my opinion, should definitely go over the same formation and the same lineup. He does have Ruben Loftus-Cheek back, who wasn't allowed to play against Chelsea as part of the loan deal. And Tim Fosu-Mensah, who missed the previous game against Man United for the same reasons, is back, but didn't get back in the team. Last week, Joel Ward kept his place, and to be fair to Wardy, he played very well against Eden Hazard. So I think it'd be very, very harsh on those players that played against Chelsea to lose their place. And that includes Julian Speroni in goal, who's waited a year and a half for a league appearance behind Hennessy, who was injured. Hennessy's now back fit, but again, I would play Speroni. I mean, if you play the same team and we lose to you guys, then fine, you can make changes. But after that game against Chelsea, I wouldn't change a single thing. I think we will be similar to what we had been under previous managers away from home. So I think we will be compact. Our midfield now with Kabay and Luka Milivojevic is looking more solid. Sakho looks back to his best, or certainly had his best game since returning. This is Mamadou Sakho, by the way, in centre-back, since returning in a £26 million deal in the summer. At the weekend against Chelsea. This is the problem with Frank de Boer, is he came in and he had admirable ideas, and you know, that's great, but we need to know what we are, and we are a team that needs to be solid and that has fast, exciting wingers and plays on the counter. I mean, we actually played better than that. We played more sort of more as an all-rounder really against Chelsea, but against Newcastle, you know, we don't have a good record at St James's. You guys have some quality players. We always seem to struggle there. We have to go defensive and we have to play on the counter. And with Wilf back and with Andros, who you guys know well, looking back to his best as well, I think that's what we'll do. So I think you guys will be invited to come on to us and we'll try and hit you on the counter. And hopefully that'll work for us. Well, obviously you've got Dwight Gale, who's a former Palace player and a much liked former Palace player. A lot of Palace fans didn't want to see him go, although became increasingly aware that he wasn't able to fit into the system we were playing at the time. Ironically now with Benteke, I think Benteke and Gale would work as a front two, but that ain't going to happen. Apparently he's injured for the game, which is a let-off for Palace, because that means he can't score against us, because most ex-players do. Obviously we've got two ex-Newcastle players in our team, in Andros and Kabay, so hopefully one of those guys will score against you, and the curse will go the other way around. Andros, of course, scored in the last time that this was a fixture in the Premier League. It was for you guys, a very, very good free kick, which looked like it might save you guys from relegation at the time. Turned out to not be the case. We were on a pretty bad run ourselves, although by that point we'd just beaten Norwich and I think we were just about safe and preparing for the cup final, which is another thing I don't want to talk about. I think you guys have enough quality to stay up. You've got a very good manager. I've got a lot of time for Rafa Benitez. I think he's quality. And I think out of the three promoted teams, you guys have the best chance of not only staying up, but probably getting a fairly safe mid-table place, which is why I think it's going to be a tough game for us at the weekend. And obviously, there's the news that Mike Ashley is selling up, which I think is going to make the atmosphere even more raucous than it would have been on Saturday. I'm sure that is huge news for you guys, and I can only imagine what it would be like for us if we had an owner like that and had to put up with him for so long, and then he said he was selling. So I'm sure you guys will be in good spirits, and to be honest, I welcome that, because I think getting shot of Mike Ashley will be very, very good for Newcastle. You guys have suffered long enough, and you've always got great fans. You know, it's one of the well-known things in football that Newcastle fans are just loyal and raucous, and you take your shirts off in the cold weather, and you know, you guys are a little bit crazy, but in a good way, and so that's why all that, you know, coming together will make it tough for us at the weekend. But I hope it'll be a good game. I wish you guys all the best for the season. I think you'll do all right, and at the weekend I hope that our run continues. You know, I'll take a point against you guys, definitely. I'd love to sneak a win, but I'll take a draw, and if we can keep scoring goals, that'd be great. These are the margins that we're playing with right now. Anyway, thanks for having me. All the best for the season later on, apart from this Saturday, of course. And that's it. Bye.